Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to your yoga class with me. Today as I was walking my dog, I noticed tiny little buds of leaves on trees and the pushing up of bulbs of little spring flowers beginning to emerge. And it reminded me of the yogic concepts and stories behind Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is the god of destruction, of clearing paths, and Shakti is the goddess of renewal and creation. Both are equally important. We need to clear out the old in order to rejuvenate and bring out the new and the fresh. So our class today is a series of twists, and we're going to flush out the legs in order to bring new energy and new blood back into the body. Before we begin, please do click on the subscription button there if you haven't already and subscribe to my channel. And also please do consider becoming a patron. I have a wonderful community of people who are supporting me back as I upload these free classes. So if you're enjoying these classes, do consider giving me a little bit more support. It really motivates me to keep these classes coming. So go to patreon.com/SarahBYoga or have a look at that link in the video description below. Let's begin our class. So I want you to start standing up. So let's begin our class. Begin standing with your feet together in tadasana, mountain pose. Raise your chest, straighten your arms, press your fingers together and bring your shoulders back. Turn your palms out to the side walls and bring your arms up overhead. Grab your right elbow and lean over to the left in the side bend, flushing out the side body as you really stamp your right foot down. Reach up with your right fingertips. Look slightly up underneath that right armpit and see if you can bring your right arm back a little bit more. And come back to center, straighten your left arm, bend the right arm, reach up and lean over to the right. Again, look slightly up. See if you can bring that left hand back a little bit more behind your ear. Push your hips over to the left as your upper body comes over to the right. Come up as you inhale. Stretch that right arm straight again and bring your hands down by your sides and interlace your fingers behind your back and squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Raise your heart. See if you can push your knuckles down that touch more. Raise your chin, coming into a standing back bend. Draw your navel in, lower your chin, look forwards, and release your hands. Come to the short edge of your mat and separate your feet to about hip width apart. Bring your hands down by your sides. Turn your palms out to the side walls. And as you inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Bend your knees, exhale, fold forward, touch the floor. Now, please bend your knees here so that you can press every finger firmly down into the floor. Then raise your chest, look forward to a half lift, still keep your knees bent, and walk back into plank. Now, in this plank pose, separate your feet a little wider than you normally do, and drop both your heels over to the left. When you push your right hand forward and keep your hips up, not up as much as you would in down dog, still keep that low plank feeling. Pick up both your heels and drop them over to the other side. Keep breathing steadily. Draw your navel in. Bring your heels back up. Then bring your knees down to the floor. No chaturanga here, just come all the way down and try and land everything at once like a plank dropping. Cobra, bring your toenails to the floor, curl up, press your hands back. And as you exhale, tuck your toes under, go back to downward facing dog and bring your feet together when you get here. Raise your right leg behind you. Keep looking at your right foot and make sure the toes are still pointing down the whole way and pause when that right leg is parallel to the floor. Then bring your knee towards your nose. Keep your foot and your knee high. Come onto your right fingertips and step your right foot forward between your hands and bring your back knee down. Press your front foot to your back knee. Bring your hands up off the floor. Reach your hands up. Keep your hands apart as you lift your heart. Now just for a moment, raise your chin, look at your hands and bring them together, Urdhva Namaskar, and bring your hands down into your heart. Inhale here, and as you exhale, twist to the right. Put your left elbow on your thigh, or possibly slide it down a little bit to the outside of your thigh. Turn your fingers to your throat, and as you press your shoulders towards your back foot, see if you can bring the left ribs under, the right ribs back, increasing the twist. Now look down at your front foot, release your hands, bring your fingertips to the floor, pick up your back knee and pause here for a moment. So again, flushing out the front of that left thigh, really squeeze the back knee straight. Then step back to down dog. So flatten your left hand, pick up your right foot and bring your feet together again. Inhale your left leg up and back slowly and again parallel to the floor. Bring your knee to your nose. Draw your navel up, really round your back like you do in cat pose. And step your left foot in between your hands. Again, the back knee comes down, so we're coming back to the Anjaneyasana shape. Bring your arms all the way up. Keep looking forwards. Keep moving your right hip forward and press your left foot back towards that back knee. Then raise your chin, bring your hands together, coming fully into Anjaneyasana. Now coming to the twist, bring your hands to your heart, inhale and pause. And as you exhale, twist towards your left. Again, the elbow either right on top of the thigh, or perhaps you can slide it down if you've got a little bit more space there. Draw your navel in and see if you can come into a little bit more of a twist. Then look down at your front foot. Bring your fingertips down, pick up your back knee, and step back to downward facing dog. Widen your feet a little bit more so that you can now drop both your heels to the left, just like you did in plank earlier. Pick up both your heels and go to the other side. Pick up both your heels again, keep both arms straight, and put a little bend in your knees and look forwards. Either walk or step your right foot, then your left to the top of the mat. Use your right hand to help bring the right foot forward if you need to. Raise your chest, look up. You can bend your knees like you did before if you need to. And as you exhale, fold. Keep pinning your sitting bones up to the ceiling, keep squeezing your legs, and press your inner ankles towards each other. Then coming up to standing, do bend your knees, sweep your arms out to the side, firm your abs as you hinge up from your hips. Bring your hands together, look up, look at your thumbnails. Then look forwards and bring your hands into your heart and back into tadasana. Turn your palms out. Inhale, bring your arms up. As you exhale, fold back to uttanasana. Inhale, raise your chest, look up. Exhale, walk back again into plank. Again, widen your feet so that you can drop both of your heels to the left. Stay like this, or possibly pick your right hand up and bring it up to the ceiling, coming into side plank. And keep this variation with your feet kind of like windscreen wipers. Bring your right hand down, pick up both your heels, rearrange your feet because they would have wandered away. And again, both heels to the right. Option again to keep the left hand on the floor, or as you press your right shoulder towards your feet, bring that hand up. Keep your hips buoyant. And you can look down here, don't feel like you have to look up. Bring your left hand down. Go back into a normal plank. Again, bring your knees to the floor, and like a falling plank, bring everything down at once, perhaps a little more slowly this time, and draw your navel up to your spine. Try not to land your pubic bone at once, try and land everything at once. Then curl up into cobra and go back to downward facing dog. Now bring your knees down to the floor and pick up your left hand, turn the palm up to the ceiling, coming into twisted child's pose. Slide your left hand across to the right and bring the side of your head to the floor. Keep pressing your fingernails, including your thumbnail, down. See if you can twist that little bit more. Drawing your navel in, and press your knees towards each other. So your inner thighs are very clearly toning and getting involved in the pose. Pick up your head, slide that hand back, bring your left hand to the floor and bring your right arm under. So you're coming to Twisted Child on the other side. Again, press your knees towards each other. And as you press your right hand down, remember the palm is facing up. See if you can twist that a little bit more. Pressing your knees towards each other will help keep the lower back nice and open. Come all the way back, back to hands and knees, and back to downward facing dog. Now for pigeon prep, bring your right knee to the floor, right behind your right wrist. Keep contact with the right wrist. Bring your back knee down and bring your back toenails to the floor. And walk your hands back a little bit more if you can, so that you can come into more of a back bend, and keep pushing your left hip forward. Squeeze your knees towards each other. Now we're going to come into a twist. So walk your left hand a little closer to your right knee and your right hand a little further away. Raise your chest again, and then bow down over your right thigh, dropping the left ribs and lifting the right. You might find that you can flatten your hands and get a little lower, and keeping your right buttock off the floor. Possibly you can take this a little further and bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and bring your elbows down. This is very much optional. Stay here for a couple more breaths. I hope I'm not squashing the microphone here. Then bring your left hand back to the floor and drop completely onto your right buttock. So pick up the right elbow if it's down, come completely onto the right buttock, bring your right hand back, then reach around with your left hand, bend your left knee, and grab the front of your left ankle. Now open up your chest, turn the right ribs up a bit more to the ceiling, possibly look up here, or you can just look across as you squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Maybe bring your left heel a little closer to the center of your left buttock. Proceed with caution here. If you want, when you feel you have the space for a little more stretch in that left thigh, you can bring the knee back so your knees are at more of a 180 angle. Then release that left ankle, come back into that pigeon pose. Tuck your back toes under and come into downward facing dog. Pick up the entire right leg and step back. So let's do those two poses on the other side. Bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Bring your back knee down. Press your knees towards each other. So you actually uplift the pelvis a little bit here. Bring your hands back. Keep moving the right hip forward. And then the twist. Walk your hands more beside your left knee. Turn your rib cage more to the left. Drape yourself over your thigh. Keep drawing your navel up so your abdominal muscles stay firm. Possibly flatten your hands. And again, you can maybe take this further by bringing your right elbow to the outside of your left thigh and bring your forearms to the floor. Keep the left hip buoyant. It's not easy to breathe deeply as you twist, but try and breathe smoothly, even if it's quite shallow. You're compressing your lungs here. Then come all the way up with your hands and bring your hands to either side of that left knee and drop the left buttock down. Bring your left hand back more and bend the right knee. I'm not mirroring you anymore, so make sure that this is your right leg. Turn your chest up towards the ceiling. Gently draw your heel in towards your buttock. And again, you can look down, especially if you're feeling flighty and tired or disconnected. Look down, earth your gaze. But if you want, you can look up, gaze up. And release that back leg. Come back up into that pigeon prep position, then downward facing dog. Pick up your left leg and step back. Press back.
really push your hands forward here and get more lengthening in your calf muscles by pushing down with the center of your heels. Then pick up your sitting bones and pin your thighs back towards the wall behind you. Really use this pose to stretch out, like a dog does when it's woken up and wants to stretch out all the fibers of its being. Now bring your knees down to the floor. Now this is where you need your block. So put your block by the side of your mat and sit down. Just watch me for a moment here. This is what you're going to do next. You're going to lie down, undo your ponytail if you've got one in and it's annoying you, pick your bottom up and put your block lengthways, so kind of east-west on the lowest height. You're then going to draw in one knee and straighten the other leg. So do all of that. Bring your back down, your head and your shoulders. With your knees bent, pick your bottom up and put your block right on the lower back. Pick up your left knee and very gently, don't feel like you've got to force this. Bring your left knee towards your left shoulder and straighten your right leg and bring the heel down to the floor. Make sure your shoulders aren't tight here. They're only doing what's necessary. And then we're going to do a couple of little tweaks here. Turn your right foot a little out to the right. The right toes move a little more out to the right. Then turn them back up to the ceiling and turn them a little over to the left. So kind of windscreen wipering here again. Then turn your toes up center, up towards the ceiling as best you can, but at the same time slightly turn the inner thigh down towards the floor and push your heel more away from you. Then bend that right knee, bring your right foot to the floor, your left foot to the floor, and pick up the right knee and gently draw it into your right shoulder. Take your time doing this because it's just been really stretched out. Now you're compressing it. Lengthen your left leg long. Push the heel away from you. Make sure you feel like your lower back is well on the block. If it isn't, then adjust that. Push your left heel more away from you. Squeeze that left knee really strongly so the kneecap wouldn't move if I try to move it. And again, turn the toes a little to the left. Keep pushing the heel long. Toes come back up to the ceiling and then over a little bit to the right. Toes back up to the ceiling. And then bend the knee. Bring both of your feet to the floor. Pick your bottom up, take the block away, and draw both of your knees in towards your shoulders. Lengthen your lower back by pushing your tailbone away from you. And bring both of your feet to the floor. Cross your right leg completely over your left leg and draw your knees up again. Both of them this time in towards your chest. Now, be cautious of pulling your knees up too quickly and too firmly. Take your time with this. Now, as you can see, if you're looking at the screen, my feet are relaxed. I want to change that. Engage your ankles by pushing your heels away from you. Relax your arms. Then take your hands off your legs, uncross the right leg, and in midair, cross the left leg over. And again, bring your hands onto your knees, your right hand on the first knee, your left hand on the knee that's further away, and engage your ankles. This is to protect your knees. Gently, bit by bit, possibly think about drawing your knees in a little closer to your chest, but if you're already at your max, then just stay there. And take your hands away, uncross your legs, bring your feet to the floor, and then coming into Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana, bring the soles of your feet to the floor and let your knees slowly drop out to the sides.
Now push your elbows down so that you can draw your shoulder blades a little closer to each other. And then push your feet together so you can pick your bottom up and move it a little closer to your heels. And reach your arms overhead and grab your elbows and let your forearms drop to the floor so you're framing your head. Now you can really smooth out your breath and deepen it. With your ribcage lifted, your lungs now have a lot of freedom to breathe very deeply and fully. Change the cross of your forearms now, so the other forearm's on the floor. And let your arms be heavy. Now release your arms, bring them down to the floor. Draw your knees towards each other and lengthen your legs long down the mat, one by one, reaching the corners of the mat, and let your feet turn away from each other. And then again, press your elbows down and draw your shoulder blades towards each other, perhaps down towards your tailbone a little bit. And bring the backs of your hands to the floor. Make sure that your fingers are loosely curled. Now, I'm going to read you a poem here in Shavasana. So bring your entire body into Shavasana, into corpse pose, deep relaxation, but keep your mind attuned to these words and your listening focused at a gentle level. And when I finish reading the poem, you'll have another minute of silence where you can really turn your senses in and rest. This poem is called The Guest House. You very possibly have heard it before, but poems are there to be heard and read over and over again. Notice how it comes to you this time. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Rest, relax, be still. Now please bend your knees one leg at a time, bringing the soles of your feet to the floor. And roll over onto your right side and pause. Continue to rest. Hold your head in your upper right arm. Now push your left hand down so that you can push yourself up to sit. Sit tall and bring your hands into your heart. Lower your chin so it touches your fingertips. And release your hands down onto your legs. Raise your chin and open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope the rest of your day goes well.